Ever wondered why the rich keep getting richer and the poor stay poor? It's a question that has puzzled many for centuries. This, my friends, is the poverty paradox, a cycle that seems to keep the less fortunate trapped in a state of financial stagnation. But what fuels this cycle? Why is it that some people are able to break free while others remain ensnared? The answer may lie in something deceptively simple: financial education. You see, understanding money, how it works, how it grows, and how it can be managed, is a crucial tool for breaking out of the poverty cycle. However, this knowledge is often inaccessible or overlooked, leaving many to tread the same financial paths as their predecessors. So, it's not just about having money, it's about knowing what to do with it. The difference between the rich and poor often comes down to financial habits and education. What differentiates the financial habits of the rich from those of the poor? This is a question that often sparks a lively debate, but the answer is surprisingly simple. It's all about mindset and habits. Imagine two different scenarios. In one, you have a wealthy individual. They have a solid understanding of financial principles, a forward-thinking mindset, and a disciplined approach to their finances. They're continually looking for ways to invest, to put their money to work. They understand that money is a tool, a means to generate more wealth. They're not afraid to take calculated risks because they know that's how their wealth will grow. They're proactive, always planning for the future, and they understand the power of compounding interest. Now let's contrast this with the financial habits of someone less affluent. Quite often they're living paycheck to paycheck, with little to no savings. Their focus is on the present, with little thought for the future. They view money not as a tool, but as a lifeline, a means of survival. Instead of investing, they're spending. And not just on necessities, but often on things that depreciate in value. Their approach to money is reactive, not proactive. They're often caught in a cycle of debt, with interest working against them, not for them. So, what we see here are two vastly different approaches to money. The rich are savers and investors. They understand and leverage financial principles to increase their wealth. The poor, on the other hand, are often spenders. They're caught in a cycle where their money is constantly flowing out, with little to nothing coming in. This is not to say that the poor are to blame for their financial situation. There are many external factors at play, but the role of financial habits cannot be underestimated. The rich and poor have vastly different approaches to money, and these habits can either perpetuate or break the cycle of poverty. By understanding and adopting the financial habits of the rich, we can all take steps towards financial freedom. How does society influence our financial status? This question might seem puzzling, but when we delve deeper, it starts making sense. Society in many ways can shape and limit our financial standing. Let's explore some of the key societal influences that keep people in poverty. One of the major influences is the lack of access to quality education. Education is the foundation for any individual's financial literacy and capability. But unfortunately, not everyone is fortunate enough to receive a good education. In many parts of the world, quality education remains a privilege, not a right. This situation leaves many individuals without the necessary tools to understand and navigate the complex world of finance. Education is not just about reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's also about understanding how money works, how to save, invest, and manage finances. When people don't have access to this kind of education, they are left in the dark, struggling to make ends meet, often falling into the trap of debt and poverty. Another significant societal influence is the stigma around discussing money. We're often told that it's impolite to talk about money. This societal norm discourages open conversations about finances, leaving many individuals clueless about how to manage their money effectively. The silence around money matters can lead to poor financial decisions, which in turn perpetuates the cycle of poverty. Additionally, societal pressures to conform and keep up appearances often lead to reckless spending. The desire to fit in and be accepted can push people to live beyond their means, plunging them further into financial distress. Lastly, let's not forget about systemic issues like unequal pay and job opportunities, which can also keep people entrenched in poverty. These structural issues are not easy to overcome, but their recognition is a crucial step towards financial equality. So as we can see, societal factors play a significant role in keeping people in poverty. It's not just about individual choices or work ethics. It's a complex web of influences and pressures that can trap individuals in a cycle of financial hardship. Societal factors play a significant role in keeping people in poverty. Why would countries prefer their citizens to remain poor? It's a perplexing question, isn't it? But if we look closely, we can see some unsettling patterns. Have you ever wondered why it is that the rich seem to get richer while the poor remain stuck in their financial rut? Well, this is not a mere coincidence or a result of individual failure. It's a consequence of systems and structures that are often rigged to benefit the wealthy and keep the poor in their place. Let's take a moment to consider income inequality. This is the uneven distribution of income within a population, and it's a growing issue worldwide. The gap between the wealthiest and the poorest has been widening at an alarming rate. Now you might ask, why would a country allow this to happen? Here's the uncomfortable truth. A system with a wide wealth gap can be beneficial for those in power. When wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, it's easier for those individuals to maintain control and influence over economic and political systems. This can lead to policies that further enrich the wealthy at the expense of the poor. Moreover, the poor, busy with the struggle of day-to-day survival, often lack the time and resources to challenge these systems. They are less likely to vote, less able to afford quality education, and more prone to health problems, all of which can keep them trapped in cycles of poverty. This isn't to say that countries actively want their citizens to be poor. Rather, it's an unfortunate side effect of systems that prioritize wealth and power over equality and fairness. In the end, the sad reality is that the system is often stacked against those trying to escape poverty. It's a harsh truth, but one that we must confront if we are to enact change. Because after all, aren't we all deserving of an equal shot at prosperity? The system is often stacked against those trying to escape poverty. What are the pitfalls that keep us stuck in a cycle of poverty? This is a question that many grapple with. One of the most significant factors that play into this cycle is consumerism. You see, consumerism is a social and economic order that encourages the acquisition of goods and services in ever-increasing amounts. It's a culture that thrives on the idea that buying more equals happiness. But in reality, this mentality often leads to financial instability and, ultimately, poverty. Let's break it down a bit. When we allow ourselves to be swept up in the tide of consumerism, we tend to prioritize wants over needs. We buy the latest gadgets, chase after the newest fashion trends, dine out at fancy restaurants, all in the name of keeping up with the Joneses. But these unnecessary expenditures can quickly add up, leading to mounting debt and financial stress. And what happens when we're drowning in debt? We become trapped in a cycle of poverty. We're working hard not to build a secure financial future, but rather to pay off our debts. This leaves little to no room for savings or investments, crucial components to financial growth and stability. But consumerism doesn't just affect our personal finances. It also plays a role in the larger economic picture. When consumer debt rises, it can lead to economic instability. This can result in job losses and a decrease in wealth for everyone, not just those directly affected by debt. The irony is that while consumerism is often marketed as a path to happiness and fulfillment, it often leads to the exact opposite. It cultivates a culture of never enough, where we're constantly seeking more and more, never truly satisfied with what we have. To break free from the cycle of poverty, we need to shift our mindset. We need to prioritize financial education, learn to distinguish between our wants and needs, and make informed decisions about our spending. Consumerism and lack of financial education are some of the biggest traps that keep people poor. It's time to break free from these pitfalls and take control of our financial future. So, what have we learned about poverty and financial education? Let's take a moment to reflect. We've explored how poverty isn't just about a lack of funds, but also a lack of financial knowledge. Ignorance in this area is a barrier to prosperity. We've delved into the financial habits of the rich versus the poor, shedding light on how the wealthy manage their resources differently. We've also touched on the role society plays in our financial status. The societal norms and expectations can often guide us into financial pitfalls. This ties into why countries might prefer their citizens to remain in a state of poverty. It's a complex issue with roots in politics and economics. And finally, we've looked at the pitfalls of consumerism, the seemingly harmless habits that can keep us trapped in poverty. It's clear that with financial education and smart habits, it is possible to break free from the cycle of poverty.